Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my Author's Answer video for July 2026. The Author's Answer series was started by J.D. Archer and his writing group, where several years ago they posed themselves a large variety of reading and writing questions on their blog, which they answered weekly. And then JD moved a lot of those questions and answers over to his AuthorTube page. So I'll link to all of that information down below. There's about 150 questions in total. And I have been answering them myself sequentially for the last several years on my AuthorTube, subset of BookTube. So I have a playlist as well I'll link down below. So when I say I'm answering sequentially, I'm answering one question per month for the past several years. And we still have a bit of a way to go, although I've been at it for a while and really enjoying this. This month I am up to question number 112, which is, what would a main character of one of your works like for Christmas? Which is a reminder, of course, that these questions were asked and answered a while ago. This one, I believe, was about 10 years ago, around Christmas time. And of course I'm answering in July. But what do you know? In fact, just recently there was an official Christmas for July Day that you could celebrate. So this question's more apropos than maybe you'd believe. And I myself was spending that Christmas in July on a cruise, which is a bit of a, present in and of itself. So I kind of thought I'd tweak things a little bit and talk about what my characters might do on a cruise ship. And so first I thought I'd go to the main character of my fantasy novel, Shauna. And Shauna is a musician. And she also someone, like, I call her like my camp counselor. That's kind of her role, where she gets people together for a lot of Act 2 to do kind of kumbaya sort of stuff. So I feel like she'd really do well on the entertainment team. I don't know, maybe a lot of the entertainment on a cruise ship is a little more upbeat than some of the music that she's doing. It's of a different time, a fantasy time. Although there was a piano lounge at my cruise, where the pianist was doing a lot of sad ballads and taking a lot of requests for those. So I feel like she'd be able to find an audience on the entertainment staff of a cruise ship. She could bring in the high harp. It'll be something a little bit different, or just her flute, where she could sing. I think it would work out. I'm also writing a science fiction short story. My main character for that is named Naomi. And I think that this would be a more complicated question, what she'd do on a cruise, because the plot of this story takes place immediately in the aftermath, or maybe not even the aftermath, in the ongoing trauma of a terrorist event where there's still, ongoing hostilities and hostages that, the society she's in is reeling from psychologically, and then just, there are physical realities as well. So this is not really the time for a cruise. But what do you know, interestingly enough, on my cruise, if you saw my last video, my Am Reading Cruise video, I was reading All the World Can Hold by Jung Yun, which I was very excited to take on a cruise because this also took place on a cruise to Bermuda, but the action takes place in the immediate aftermath after 9/11, as in, the cruise was scheduled well before 9/11, and it was going to leave in the immediate days after 9/11, and we're following characters who did not, cancel their plans. They still went on the cruise, but it's just a really surreal experience. And, reading this 25 years later is, of course, a big reminder. Now we know a lot of the aftermath, both the immediate aftermath of, the destruction of that day, and also, the wars and the politics and the cultural realities that followed. But, within the first several, weeks to months even, I think, at this point, it's only like, a few days to weeks later. So, you don't even know how many people died in the attacks. There's still scores of missing people, and everyone's still reeling from this. And it's just such a surreal experience. And, there's some things that I didn't like so much about some of the characters and storylines, but I do feel like Jung Yun really captured, that surreal feeling of, we just went through a catastrophic event, which even if we, stayed in our normal lives, well, our normal lives aren't even normal anymore. But to go on this event that's supposed to, be a vacation that takes you away from everything, it just, It's just a really upending experience, and I thought that she dealt with that pretty well in this book. So I haven't written my review yet. I should do that, but I'll link to the Goodreads page down below. And I guess I'll also link to some Christmas in July information down below, see what I can find. And with that, I guess that about covers what I want to do here now. I'd love to hear what characters from your works might do on a cruise, or might like for Christmas or another holiday, whatever fits. And speaking of cruise content, I will be back on this channel in the next couple of days to do my July book haul, which is very cruise related, so stay tuned for that. And thanks so much for watching, everyone. Keep writing, and I'll see you next time.